My name is Papa Kwesi Indom, the presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Party, PPP, for the 2016 elections. This is the second of 3 national broadcasts that the PPP wants to bring to your attention so that you have every good reason for wanting and desiring to vote for Papa Kwesi Indom for president and PPP parliamentary candidates to go to parliament on December 7th. This broadcast tonight is about jobs, jobs, jobs. That is the focus of what I am going to talk about tonight. But to begin with, let me remind you, my life has been guided by my faith as a Christian, family values, and a commitment, a deep commitment to public service. I am a local boy from Elmina. By the grace of God, education, and hard work, I have been able to create thousands of jobs in every district in Ghana. And I've also served my country. My country, I believe, in a way that this nation has benefited. First, as Minister for Economic Planning and Regional Cooperation, then Minister of Energy, and then Minister for Public Sector Reforms. I have gained these experiences, private sector, public sector, and I want the chance. I'm asking you for the opportunity to use all of this positive experience for the benefit of millions and millions of Ghanaians. I am number 4 on the ballot, number 4. I am the one, when you get your presidential ballot, who will be wearing a kente cloth with a bright red sun next to me. That is where I'm asking you to vote. Our focus, the PPP's focus in Ghanaian politics is unique. We are the ones who say that we will engage in job creation through competent, incorruptible leadership. Very unique, very different from that of the other political parties, so that everything that we do, education, health, energy, everything goes back to the platform for the creation of jobs, jobs, jobs for Ghanaians. No political party in Ghana, not the NDC, not the MPP, has been so bold and clear about its focus. And as written in our policy document, I want to quote, it says that the PPP seeks the opportunity to implement an efficient agenda for accelerated change that is built on incorruptible leadership, education, healthcare, and jobs. So let me give you some highlights of our unique, non-negotiable policies. Number 1 is that we will bring about constitutional reforms and good governance. And that is, reform our constitution to strengthen parliament, elect districts, municipal, metropolitan chief executives, create a strong, independent prosecutor to root out government corruption, and make parliament truly independent by ensuring that a member of parliament cannot serve as a minister of state at the same time. We will work with parliament to pass the Right to Information Bill to bring transparency and encourage accountability in government. Number 2, will engage in active, vigorous public sector reforms. That is to reform state institutions, make government efficient, and raise revenue to be able to pay our public servants well, to motivate them so that they will in turn facilitate the work of the private sector and Ghanaian society in general. We will work with a lean administration of no more than 40 ministers. And we will abolish the position of regional minister. Number 3, we have chosen to focus on preventable diseases, those diseases that hurt our people, that kill our people, such as malaria, cholera, monococcal meningitis, HIV/AIDS. All of those diseases that are preventable, we will push them strongly and keep this nation safe and healthy, so that we prevent premature deaths and raise our level of productivity. Number 4, we are the ones who talk about putting compulsory in the education policy firmly to provide quality education for every Ghanaian child through free, compulsory, continuous education from kindergarten all the way to the senior high school level at the end of it. And number 4, we have a program not just to develop agriculture, but to provide food security for the people. And our unique feature in this is to work hard through the authority of the state, of government, to ensure that our farmers and fishermen have a secure, ready market in Ghana for their produce, so that they will be encouraged to do more, to become wealthier, more prosperous. And number 6 is we want to implement solutions with a great sense of urgency to solve the real problem in the energy sector, which is money. How to finance the debt that has been sitting there, how to finance continuous provision of energy for development, for industry, for living in Ghana. And number 7, to accelerate job creation, we want to build strong infrastructure, world-class infrastructure, same quality inter-regional highways to link every region in the country, open up the country so that investments can occur. And we want to bring modern 21st century railways to Ghana, not the archaic old railway system that we have had. And in the area of sports, we want to encourage all the schools to have sports compounds, all the districts, all the assemblies to create sports facilities, and to have competition that go from the kindergarten level all the way up, so that with a 10-year program we can build Olympic and world-class champions in Ghana. Sports brings discipline. Sports promotes healthy competition. The Progressive People's Party will make that happen, and we say Ghana first. So domestic enterprises, those people who have invested their monies in this country, Ghana, we will support them, we will push them. We will use the state's purchasing power to ensure that they grow, they develop, they become bigger, so we can have economies of scale from Ghanaians. And we also want to deal with what happens to our women. The women, they are the greatest majority of people in Ghana. We want them to become enterprising. We want to support them, as we know they are. And so we will put in place a program, women's development, women's enterprise development, where we will provide technical assistance, whether it's in the form of accounting, marketing, sales, branding of their products, and then financing, so that we will have enterprises, not just headed, but enterprises initiated by women entrepreneurs. And then finally, technology. Technology is one of those areas where we want to provide sharp focus, because without technology, you can't go anywhere in the world these days. One of the lowest forms of technology is what the National Identification Authority has been seeking to do, so that we can have a single form of identification, a common identifier that will be mandated for use, for banking, for housing, for voting, for everything, so that from birth until you die, you have one single unchanging identification number that you use throughout the system, so we can have discipline in our society, so we can raise more taxes, so that building databases for life, for living, for the society will be easier to do. But technology, whether it's in the financial industry, technology for the broad industry, technology for education, and so on and so forth, we want to make sure that our Ghanaian talent are given opportunity to prove that indeed they also belong within the world of technology. Now, I have said over and over and over again that all the presidents that we have had in this country since 1993, they have all come with good intentions. All of them. Jerry John Rawlings, J.A. Kufuor, J.E.A. Mills, and John Dramani Mahama. They've all had good intentions. All of them came with the idea that they were going to do something good for Ghana. And they've done the best that they can. But the best that they have done for Ghana leaves us where we are. And where are we? A nation weighed down by huge debts. Huge debts. Debts that's over 65% of our gross domestic product, near HIPC levels. And the current president is piling on some more debts. We are still a nation bedeviled by preventable diseases. We're still struggling with malaria and cholera. And in the central region, recently over 400 people been affected by cholera. Something that in the 21st century is disgraceful. And in this country, we have several thousands and thousands of our young men and women who have gone through polytechnics, technical universities, and don't have jobs. Unemployment is a big factor, a big problem that is sitting there. And energy, which we're still grappling with the difficulties in terms of the costs of energy. So, yes, those who have come, they've done their best, but their best has landed us where we have a lot more challenges to overcome, which leads me, Papa Kwesi Nduom, and the Progressive People's Party to suggest very strongly to every Ghanaian that December 7th is an opportunity to bring someone new, some people with big ideas, great courage, and practical experience to come apply all of this to the situation so we can overcome these challenges using inclusive administration, using unity and peace, so that we can become a stronger nation and more prosperous people. And I, Papa Kwesi Indom, that is what I seek to do from my number 4 position in Parliament to become president and work to unite this country, all of its people, put in place an inclusive, all-inclusive administration, lean administration, and accelerate our development. So now, I want to become even more specific in the areas of jobs, 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 which is our focus for this.
The people pay your queen, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom, if I get too far.
Afia bato na drusu biemu o se wo kwoto aba na won saka o ballot paper no a ne ehia ne se wakan baako mienu miensa enan ehonum na obehu Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom se wefura ne kente papa bi na PPP amanyoko na hyensode awia kokko no eda ne nchen ne ehia ne se odi kokromoti ebetim so no ato aba ama ejuma.
So our focus is on jobs, jobs, jobs. And I want to become even more specific. And if you don't remember much from what I talk about this evening, there are a few initiatives, key initiatives I'd want you to remember, so that when you talk to somebody about wanting and your desire and you're going to vote for Papa Kwesi Indom of the PPP in the number 4 position, you tell them that we want to bring about a rice revolution and bring about strategic intervention in agriculture. That's one. Number 2, real estate for growth. Is building houses and so on and so forth. Real estate for growth. Petrochemicals industry. Number 3, petrochemicals industry in the Western region. So we add value to the oil and gas that we have. And number 4, tourism. Tourism for life, tourism for employment, tourism to become a better nation. So 4 key initiatives. In the end, I hope will be clear. A rice revolution, strategic investment and intervention in agriculture, petrochemicals industry, real estate for growth, and tourism. And so let me go through one by one some of the things that we will do. But first, there are certain prerequisites. You know, when we talk about industry, when we talk about entrepreneurship, when we talk about the private sector, the big cry in the private sector, there are a couple of things. Taxes, level of taxation, which is high, and number two is how to find low costs, long-term financing. And I want to make some suggestions. Many people don't consider the opportunity that is here with us through the Pension Act 766, which was passed in the year 2008 by Parliament. That Pension Act was intended to help provide long-term capital for the Ghanaian private sector. How do I know? I know because I was one of the early initiators of what we called the long-term savings tied to investment program. That is the program that grew to enter into what became the Pension Reform Initiative. And our purpose in starting this was to shape up something similar to the American 401k program that has ended up providing big capital for the stock market, for investment, and so on and so forth. Long-term money. And what we wanted to do was to come up with a second or third tier, which today is the third tier pension money, where the money would be invested by the private sector. And the private sector fund managers would then go and look for opportunities in industry and to fund the productive sector of our economy. But then somewhere along the way, when the bill went into Parliament, somehow, well, the Ghanaian fear of each other, of what other people would do with money, it took over. So that now, the pensions law that we have today, it actually mandates that most of the money goes to buy government bonds. So the fund managers have ended up going back, buying treasury bills, government bonds. So the money is not ending up where it was supposed to, as long-term capital for the private sector. So if we are going to have a vibrant private sector that was going to create jobs, then the PPP, what we are saying is that we will amend the relevant portions of the Pensions Act 76, amended to become Act 883 in 2014, so that the money ends up where it's supposed to be. And let me tell you, as of the end of last year, about 4.6 billion Ghana cedis was already sitting there in the pension account to be managed by the private fund managers, which represents about 3.3% of our GDP. So it's a lot of money that is going to grow. It's only going to grow billions and billions and billions of cedis. So there would be no need to use short-term, expensive money from the banks when the pension fund managers would have long-term money to invest directly into enterprises. So that's an important matter I want to bring to the attention of Ghanaians. When we talk about ideas, innovation, experience, those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about. And if those of you who are listening and watching, John Dramani Mahama hasn't talked to you about this. Nana Akufo-Addo hasn't talked to you about this. But Papa Kwesi Nduom, I know. What is it that we need? And I will be able to put these kinds of things to use for the Ghanaian private sector to benefit. And by the way of taxes, I've already talked about the national identification system in the use, mandated use of a single identifier. Through this single identifier, we will be able to practically expand the tax net as everybody has been claiming to want to do, but have not had the ideas, the initiatives to follow through with them. So we will use this so that people who provide services people who provide goods, people who buy real estate, people who buy cars and other material things with cash and so on and so forth, but then get away with paying the relevant taxes, we will find them. They will pay their fair share of taxes so that we don't continue to overburden those people that we know in the system. So we can bring down the high level of taxation and encourage people to invest some more and do some more and then prosper some more. And so now let me make sure that we go through, and what I want to do is to now go through region by region, region by region, and talk about the kinds of opportunities that we are going to put on the table for the Ghanaian society. And that is what I want us to now go through and make happen.
The people pay you Queen Dr. Pepper Kwesi Nkrumah and Frank too far.
Afia bato na drusu biemu o se wo kwoto aba na won saka o ballot paper no a ne ehia ne se wakan baako mienu miensa enan ehonum na obehu Dr. Papa Kwesi Nkrumah se wefura ne kente papa bi na PPP amanyoko na hyensode awia kokko no eda ne nchen ne ehia ne se odi kokromoti ebetim so no ato aba ama ejuma.
The people pay you Queen Dr. Pepper Kwesi Nkrumah and Frank too far.
Afia bato na drusu biemu o se wo kwoto aba na won saka o ballot paper no a ne ehia ne se wakan baako mienu miensa enan ehonum na obehu Dr. Papa Kwesi Nkrumah se wefura ne kente papa bi na PPP amanyoko na hyensode awia kokko no eda ne nchen ne ehia ne se odi kokromoti ebetim so no ato aba ama ejuma.
You know that agriculture employs over 53% of Ghanaians. Now, you would think because it employs over 53% of Ghanaians, government would spend more money, will invest more, and will ensure that those people are prosperous. But that is not the case. That has not been the case. Indeed, agriculture has experienced negative growth under John Dramani Mahama. We will change it. But how? We will change it through strategic interventions. Now that doesn't mean we'll go back to having state-owned farms and state-owned processing facilities and so on and so forth, but through strategic interventions aimed at encouraging the private sector, pushing them, showing them examples, giving them technical assistance, helping find innovative financing so they can do more, so they can prosper, so that we can improve livelihoods for the people who are farmers and fishermen in Ghana. And our aim is to stop the marketing of raw products. Yes, we want fresh produce to eat and so on and so forth, but we want to prevent the rotting of fresh produce and the discouragement that comes with it, the low prices that come with it. And so let me begin with what I talked about earlier, about a rice revolution. So, you know, the rice industry in Ghana has gone through unprecedented growth. That Ghanaians used to talk about people from other countries in West Africa who loved rice. Now in Ghana, people will eat rice water in the morning, maybe omutuo in the afternoon, perhaps fried rice or jollof in the evening. So rice 3 times a day, and so on and so forth. So it has become a major food that we eat in Ghana. And the consumption of rice has grown consistently, particularly since 2004, 2006, according to statistics and research. And now we have a self-sufficiency rate of only 38%, which means most of the rice we eat come from countries like Thailand, America, and so on and so forth. So we are actually sending our hard-earned monies to those countries and creating jobs in those countries. That is what we aim to deal with. And we believe with our rice revolution, in 4 years, we ought to be able to make it something needless to import even 1 grain of rice from anywhere into this country. That would be self-sufficient, with the hope that we in Ghana can begin to export rice again, because we've done that before in this country. And how are we going to do it? There are certain prospects that we have in this country, and really when you go through and do all of the analysis, this rice business in Ghana can grow to become as much as $2 to $3 billion worth a year by providing examples to our rice farmers, by supporting them, and also by leading them to do the right things in the industry. So how do I know this can be done? Well, I know this through practical experience, because the company that I am with, Group Indo, recently, through research, identified an opportunity in the rice industry. We studied it. We went through to find out, well, can the people produce the rice? Can the rice be milled properly? If the rice is milled, can the rice become of same quality or even better quality than those that are imported? Would Ghanaians buy this rice? Will it be good rice? And can you make money doing it? And so we invested in the Raura rice mill and turned it into a rice project, a demonstration project, which in Raura in the Volta region is going to cater for over 5,000 farmers. And today, as I speak to you, the rice mill is in production, and it is producing good quality rice. And you know, because the paddy rice comes from the field straight to the factory, dried and milled and made available, it is of excellent quality, nutritious value, unlike some of the rice imported into this country, where sometimes it has stayed 5 years, 10 years before it is exported to Ghana, and of sometimes dubious quality. And the rice that is being milled in Raura the market is right there, that they can't mill enough of it because the demand is so high. But we have learned that we need to go through and do more interventions through some mechanization, through teaching the farmers the best practices to use, to reduce the human labor involved, to make the job easier And then what we want to do is to take this example, including one that we are also recently starting in Asin Breku in the central region, to use this example to show people in the private sector that, look, the president myself, I have tried this. It works. And it creates employment. And you can make money doing it. So we'll support you. Technical advice, we'll support you, help you find the kind of money that you need to put up a similar rice mill, because we know the costs. Somebody can't come and say something that costs 1 million Ghana cedis, they need 2 million Ghana cedis for, because I know. So the intention for this revolution is to create employment for over 1 million people in this country. Not just people to go to the farms, but also the people to work in the factories, people to do the marketing, people to engineering people, and so on and so forth. So we will create jobs for all types of people in our system. And that rice revolution is the one that in 4 years will help us become self-sufficient completely, because we will have these rice mills dotted all over the country, because in my travels around the country, I know rice is grown in Brong-Ahafo, in Ashanti, in Central, in Western, in Eastern, in Volta, in Northern, and so on and so forth. So the opportunity is there. It's just looking for the right leadership, which Papa Kwesi Nduom, the Progressive People's Party, will provide. And let me talk about palm oil. Palm oil is also the one product that has a huge market worldwide. But even right here in this country, we're not producing enough of it. So we are importing palm oil as raw material to come to Ghana, so that the processing factories that we have here in Ghana can have enough palm oil to process. So here's an opportunity, here's a money-making opportunity. We have the land, we have the type of soil that is good for it, we have people that have grown oil palm for years. It's just looking for opportunity. What we will do is to support the big processing factories that we have already to become even bigger, with bigger economies of scale, but then support those downstream in the farms, have bigger farms, bigger plantations, have more people involved, and raise the productivity level up, become self-sufficient, and then provide palm oil for export. So here's another area where, through strategic intervention, the Progressive People's Party will support that industry. And the final one I want to highlight is cashew. Because cashew has become a big deal, but we don't grow enough of it. Indeed, in Ghana, we don't have enough of it even for the processing facilities that we have. So you go to Brong-Ahafo, to places like Sampa, to Wenchi, Teobodom, and so on and so forth. There is a need for strategic intervention so that the Ghanaian cashew farmer can become better off. So we can have infrastructure that helps them, and so on and so forth. So I've talked about the rice revolution, I've talked about oil palm, I've talked about cashew. There are some others, but these are the ones in the agriculture area. And the final one I want to mention before I move on is fishing. Today, our fishing industry has problems, and the men and women in that industry, they are poor, and they are not getting any better in terms of the level of prosperity. So what an administration led by Papa Kwesi Nduom will do is to protect the seabed, to protect the ocean, the part of the ocean that is ours. make sure that it's able to breathe, it's able to redevelop, it is able to renew itself. And we don't have those vessels from other lands who come and do illegal fishing and destroy the opportunity for our people to make a proper, decent living through fishing. But also, we will work to introduce modern fishing techniques and modern fishing technology so that we don't continue to do the historic fishing we've been doing. That is manually intensive and is not as productive as it ought to be. So I want to move.
The people pay you Queen Dr. Papa Kwesi Nkrumah no fan get too far.
Afia bato na drusu biemu o se wo kwoto aba na won saka o ballot paper no a ne ehia ne se wakan baako mienu miensa enan ehonum na obehu Dr. Papa Kwesi Nkrumah se wefura ne kente papa bi na PPP amanyoko na hyensode awia kokoro no eda ne nchen ne ehia ne se odi kokromoti ebetim so no ato aba ama ejuma.
The people pay you Queen Dr. Papa Kwesi Nkrumah no fan get too far.
Afia bato na drusu biemu o se wo kwoto aba na won saka o ballot paper no a ne ehia ne se wakan baako mienu miensa enan ehonum na obehu Dr. Papa Kwesi Nkrumah se wefura ne kente papa bi na PPP amanyoko na hyensode awia kokoro no eda ne nchen ne ehia ne se odi kokromoti ebetim so no ato aba ama ejuma.
So fellow Ghanaians, this is all about jobs, jobs, jobs. What I've been talking to you about is that job creation is our goal. When on December 7th you go to vote, so remember that the PPP is all about jobs. Everything that we say we do is all about jobs. And if it is a job you want, if you are a student, if you have come out of school, if you are unemployed, well, your choice is the PPP because we are focused on that. If you are an employer, we want you to expand what you have. We want your business to grow. We want to lessen your tax burden. We want to give you more opportunities by creating a market for you right here, and when you satisfy that, help lead you to other lands. So then your choice also is number 4 on the ballots, where Papa Kwesi Nkrumah and the PPP can be found. So we will prepare our children by arming them with high quality education, at least through the high school level. Improve our health by managing preventable diseases and set the stage for a productive labor force that will propel Ghanaian industry to higher levels. So let me go through. You know, Greater Accra has been, over the years, the hub of industry in Ghana, Greater Accra. But then it suffers from and has suffered from energy deficiency. So we will work hard to solve this energy deficiency, which has now become a very high cost of energy, where normally industry pays a lower rate for the energy it consumes. And the domestic players, you know, the homes and so on and so forth, domestic use of energy, it is normally a higher costs, at a higher costs. Ghana has been flipped. Well, we would want to change that so that the productive sector enjoys a lower cost of energy. And Greater Accra needs it much more so than every and anybody else. And one of the unique things that we want to do is we want to make the Accra area mosquito-free, malaria-free, so that as our capital city, it can create more jobs through the financial sector and then through leisure industry. So the water bodies that we have, we want to make sure that they are cleaner, they are expanded, and they become like the rivers that we see in Paris, in London, and so on and so forth, in Dubai, where there's entertainment during the day, at night, for leisure purposes, dining, music, and so on and so forth. So an Accra that is clean, Accra that is hospitable, environmentally clean, mosquito-free, malaria-free, doesn't smell badly, and encourages people to come in, do their business, and will create jobs that way for Accra. Accra already has the industry. What we need to do is to improve the efficiency and the cost factors for industry in Accra so that it can do more. And when we go to the Ashanti region is a hotbed for gold. Gold is found in many places in the Ashanti region. Of course, many people remember Obuasi or the Adansi area. And yet, we don't have a gold refinery in the Ashanti region. So the PPP will make sure that there's not just a gold refinery, but that we provide a training institute that helps people to become artisans, technically competent in crafting jewelry of all types and marketing jewelry of all types, so that people can come from other lands to come and buy jewelry, gold chains, earrings, rings of all types from the Ashanti region. And the Ashanti region has a number of other things as well, as has been proven to me when I go around. There is still cocoa, and where we find cocoa, there should be a processing factory. So there will be processing factories in the Ashanti region to process cocoa. And then, Ashanti region ought to have an international airport. I'm not talking about the one that was refurbished recently, a real international airport, so that it can become another hub for international travel, create jobs, create activity, create economic activity for the Ashanti region. In the Western region, here is the people crying for help. The Progressive People's Party will reward the people of the Western region. Why? Already God has rewarded the Western region with enormous resources, gold, bauxite, manganese, now oil and gas. You put a seed on the ground, it germinates, it grows, cocoa grows, rice grows, timber grows, many other things grow. So yes, there will be a gold refinery there in the Western region as well. There will be processing factories for cocoa, rice mills. There will be a booming petrochemicals industry. And I have said in many other platforms that the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation or company, it will move its headquarters from Accra to the Western region to be closer to the action, to symbolize the need to use the oil and gas to lead development in the Western region. And it will encourage other players in the oil and gas industries to also move their headquarters to the Western region. Petrochemicals industry will encourage the development of plastics, PVC material fertilizers, and others. So that here is an area where industry, real industry will boom, and we will reconstruct a number of the towns and villages. This is part of the real estate boom that we intend to put here in this country. Housing, offices, retail structures, and so on and so forth. We will make sure that those kinds of things happen in the Western region. And the Central region. You know, the Central region, it was once known as the heartbeat of tourism. How can you be the heartbeat of tourism when the beaches are not clean? When the forts, the castles, and other monuments are not kept up? We will put it there. So there will be an airport in the Central region to make it easier for people to fly in and to go to the World Heritage monuments, the castles and the like that are here in the Central region. And also to enjoy the wildlife in the Central region. The historic, you know, when you talk to people elsewhere about a castle built in 1482, a huge one at that. And it's not just one such castle. There are a number of them dotted along the coasts. Well, with good beaches, sun, and so on and so forth, this will be, the Central region will be the heartbeat of tourism in Ghana. And in the Central region, also the people grow fruits of all types. So we'll have fruit processing factories in the Central region, in addition to others. And let's go to the Northern region. And I'm very particular about the Mole Game Park, because the Mole Game Park, we add a small airport or an airstrip, and we provide other amenities and facilities. The wildlife there will rival what is in Kenya. Elephants and other wildlife there, and not far from there, you cross to the Upper West, you have the Hippo Sanctuary. So we'll join the Upper West and Northern regions to have a tourism corridor, a wildlife corridor, one that can become international, that will create jobs. And in the Northern region, you know, groundnuts grow, yam grows. So yam chip factories produce yam chips for domestic consumption and for export. These are very necessary. These will work for the Northern region. And then in the Brong-Ahafo region, cashew grows. It's become a center for cashew. Well, we need to move on from just exporting the raw material to ensuring that there is cost-effective financing for the farmers, warehouses, processing facilities, and support, infrastructure support. And in Brong-Ahafo also, you have gold. So there too, gold processing, a refinery, jewelry manufacturing. In the Eastern region, there is gold as well, just as there is timber and there are other things that grow, so that there too. So we are talking gold refineries across, rice milling in the Eastern region. And then when you get to the Volta region, it's a wonderful, wonderful part of the country. Many things grow, fruits grow, mangoes and others. So we will have fruit juice produced for export for domestic consumption. And you go around the country, in the Volta region, you see that it's a wonderful landscape for tourism as well. Tourism as well. And so as we go around the country and come back through to the center, you will see the idea. The idea is that the Progressive People's Party will engage in strategic intervention that will make the processing of our raw materials become a necessity. So if it is gold, we want to process gold and not sell it as a raw material, and lead downstream to other products for consumption, for exports. If it is oil and gas, we don't just dig up the oil and gas and just go and sell it. Then we build a petrochemicals industry. If it's yam, we don't just try to go and export yams or move it around the country, but we actually ensure that we process the yam into yam chips and to make things work and make things work for everybody. We have rice, a rice revolution to ensure that we have domestic self-sufficiency and rice for export. So it's all about jobs, jobs, jobs. It's about the Progressive People's Party preparing our people with high quality education. So every child goes to school, so every child gets at least a high school education, so that as we are developing all these jobs, that our own children will be able to enter the job market and earn a good living. As we deal with the preventable diseases, then our people will be healthier, productivity will be high. And so, my fellow Ghanaians, all that we have talked about is that the Progressive People's Party, you vote for Papa Kwesi Nduom, number 4 on the ballot. And what you will get is unity. We'll unite the country, bring inclusiveness, reform the Constitution to make it responsive, more responsive to the people, root out corruption, reduce our taxes, and ensure that there's long-term investment to support our private sector, so that we're not just talking about private sector by mouth, but by doing. And Papa Kwesi Nduom, I will lead in this exciting development. So on December 7th, look for Papa Kwesi Nduom, number 4 on the ballot, with wearing the kente cloth with the bright red sun. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. May God bless you, and God bless the Republic of Ghana.
The people pay you, Queen Dr. Papa Kwesi Nduom, I never get too far.
Afia bato na drusu biemu o se wo kwoto aba na won saka o ballot paper no a ne ehia ne se wakan baako mienu miensa enan ehonom na obehu Dr. Papa Kwesi Nduom se wefura ne kente papa bi na PPP amanyoko na hyensode awia kokko no eda ne nchen ne ehia ne se odi kokromoti ebetim so no ato aba ama ejuma